welcome to my channel. In case you're new here, my name is Lorena and I love to share my recipes with you. And if you've been here before, then hello again. When you'll be watching this video, my birthday would have been 2 days ago, so the 28th of December. And every year I do a cake for my birthday. I'm not really a cake person, but I do like it to have it if, of course, it's served on the table. So today we're going to do one of my favorite flavors of cake. It's red velvet, which has a bit of cocoa powder, also a bit of vinegar that gives it a really particular flavor. And we're also going to use red food coloring, but you could do a blue velvet, a green velvet, a yellow velvet, whatever color you want to do, or even a rainbow velvet. But today we're going to do the classic red, and we're going to fill it with some cream cheese buttercream, which is my favorite in the world. As always, if you want to see the full recipe, then all you need to do is click on the link in the description box below, and that will take you to the blog where you'll find lots more recipes. Also remember that if you like this video, you can always put thumbs up to it and subscribe to my channel if you haven't done it already. I'm now going to make this red velvet cake for my birthday, so if you want to see how it's done, then keep on watching this video. To start, we're going to prepare my molds. I have here these molds, and you always want to put some paper at the bottom, stick it in there with some vegetable oil, just so that then it's much easier to unmold, unless you have one that is actually unmoldable and you can just push it through. I'm going to use 2 molds, and in general when you see people making cakes, you'll see that we usually use 2 molds, because if you make one big mold, what's going to happen is it's going to dry around and at the bottom and at the top, and it's going to take longer to cook through. So you want to always divide it in 2. Once the paper is stuck to the bottom, we want to oil up also the edges and on top of the paper, and then flour it up. Remember to always take out the excess of flour by tapping on it really hard. Now for the cake then. I have here already weighed out my dry ingredients, so I have flour, cocoa powder, salt, sugar, also baking powder, and we're going to mix in our wet ingredients, which are vegetable oil, also milk. You can use any type of milk you want, it can also be vegetable milk. I have here some red food coloring along with some apple vinegar, and we're also going to add some vanilla essence. So we're going to mix everything in until we have a smooth dough, and then we're ready to bake. Whenever you're mixing anything in a stand mixer, you want to stop halfway through and just run a spatula around the edges and also the bottom, because it tends to have clumps of flour stuck to it, so you want to make sure that everything is mixing it nicely. These are now going to go into a preheated oven at 180 degrees for about 45 minutes up to an hour. You want to make sure that if you put a stick inside them, that it comes out clean, and then you know that it's done. Now that the cakes are out of the oven, we need them to cool down completely before we can unmold them. And once you come to unmold them, you want to run a thin knife around the cake and just turn it around, and it should drop onto your hand. By the way, if you want to do this recipe for a larger mold, because this is an 18 centimeter mold, then you can double the recipe for a 22, 23 or 24 centimeter cake. So here I have a cake that I actually did yesterday, so it's really nice and cold now. And it's very important that you wait for it to cool down completely before you assemble it, or before even you start to do the buttercream, because whenever you're dealing with something with butter to fill cakes, if it's slightly warm, then it will melt down and become really yellow, which is something that we don't want. So we have here the butter for the buttercream. Today in Santiago it's really hot, it's about 30 degrees Celsius outside, so it's important that when you live or when it's hot outside, or if you have the oven, maybe your kitchen gets really hot, you don't want the butter to actually be at room temperature, because then your room temperature is a bit too hot for your butter. What you want to do then is start from the butter cold straight from the fridge and slowly work it into a softer butter, but you actually want it to be thicker than it would be in a hot space at room temperature. If, however, you live in a colder place, then you can of course leave it outside to soften it. The butter we're going to beat from that soft point onwards for 5 minutes, so put your timer to that time and it's going to become nice and white. If you're interested in having a white result for the buttercream, then you definitely want to use a butter that has a higher fat content that makes it more white. These are usually the butters that come from France or a French factory, so you want to check the percentage of fat that it's actually higher. Now I'm going to add the cream cheese and also mix it for about 5 more minutes. And it's also cold because of what I explained earlier. But again, if you live in a colder place, then you can have it at room temperature before that. Now we're ready to add the sugar, and you want to sift it before adding it to your buttercream because it tends to lump up, especially if the bag was already open before you started doing this. So just make sure that you don't get any lumps in your buttercream by just sifting it before adding it. And this we're also going to mix for about 2 minutes or until everything is incorporated nicely. Now I'm going to cut these in half just like I did the top. So the way that I do that is easier is just measure the halfway through with a ruler and then you mark that with a tiny cut all around and then you just go through and those small cuts will serve as a guide for your knife. Oh, and a nice tip is that you want to leave the paper on until you actually are going to assemble it because it helps us rotate it as we're cutting. If you wanted a naked cake, then you just need to put some on the top and then it's done. But we're actually going to do a semi-naked cake, which means that we're going to have a really thin layer of buttercream around and you're going to be able to see through onto the cake. So we're just going to add a bit on top and a bit around, and we want to take away as much as we can so that it looks nice and silky. Now my birthday cake is going to go to the fridge for at least 30 minutes before you can actually cut into it because the buttercream is really liquidy at this stage. That was my red velvet semi-naked cake. I really hope you liked it. If you did like it, don't forget to put thumbs up to this video. It makes me really happy. Please, if you make this recipe or any other recipe from the vlog, don't forget to send me a picture or tag me on them because I really love to see what you cook. Also, if there's anything savory or sweet that you would like me to teach you how to make, you can leave a comment below. I'm posting recipes every Thursday and Sunday, so if you don't want to miss any of them, then I recommend that you subscribe to my channel. It's free and only one click away. You can also follow me on Instagram, Pinterest, and Facebook as Cravings Journal. Thank you so much for watching this video and see you next time.